Alrighty, channeled message. My intention behind this is that this is going to be for January 2024. But we're just going to see what happens to come. So this is a divine message, so I am taking myself up. And then I'm just going to speak the words that come out of my mouth. And just ignore the eye fluttering. Okay, you ready? Get nice and comfortable as you listen to this. January 2024. There will be a detailed but brief description and message in the next couple of minutes. We are going to begin, though, speaking about divine consciousness. Divine consciousness could be compared to the cells or the energetic molecules that live in your body. If we were to think about this on a world scale, we could think about it as comprising all of the space that is around you, everything that we would consider empty space, because scientists don't know its purpose, so we call it space. But this is consciousness. So all of the space is consciousness. It is the creative force behind all of the worlds, behind the universe, behind everything. It is the beginning. It is the very first element that existed. It is the base of the existence of absolutely everything. There is nothing living and not living that was not created by consciousness and that does not exist within our world of consciousness. Everything living, everything dead contains consciousness. This is very important. The reason why this is so important is because divine consciousness is in everything, and it contains everything within it. This is important because nothing can exist without this consciousness. Now, human consciousness and universal consciousness are two different things. For example, you did not create the actual earth itself, but you are creating the world in which you live by viewing it from certain ways that are all dictated and determined by your level of consciousness. And this means we are the creators of our realities, not of the earth itself. It began before us. But we are here, and we now have consciousness influence over the earth in which we live. By this I mean, when we concentrate our consciousness, meaning our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions towards something in particular, we are creating more of that thing. It already exists, so we are creating more of it. If we were to come up with a brand new idea, we would be creating it. But essentially, the way that your life goes is the things that you are focusing on already somewhat exist, because if they didn't, you wouldn't have the thought of them. You would be creating a brand new idea if you didn't already have that thought of them. So why is this important to me? because it means that I have control of my world. And I'm becoming more so in control of my world moment by moment every single day that I choose to have mental maturity. Mental maturity is having control of one's own thoughts. Thoughts determine the world around us. Thoughts are creative forces that go out, create, and return to us, showing us the creation that we've put forth into the world through our thought and our action and our feelings. When we gain mental maturity and we are able to control our own minds, which that is what this evolutionary process is about, that we are embarking on. This is what the age of Aquarius is about. So as we are at the dawn of this age, we're becoming more aware. We are all becoming more enlightened beings. Some say we are living in hell and we must create heaven, and some say we are living in heaven. Here's the thing, we are living in whatever you believe. And whatever you believe creates the world around you. So we could look around. We could use our creative mind and our feelings to focus on the hell that is currently in this world. We could then also choose in the same breath, in the same moment, nearly that same moment, to choose to look at only the good. We could take ourselves from hell in one moment, and we could lead ourselves into heaven the very next. We have been given free will to do so. However, when we have subconscious traumas, this can, but does not, can override the free will that we have. It feels as though we don't have choices, but yet we are choosing and we are making decisions and we are choosing things all day long. But when they are based off of the past traumas, then the decisions that we're making currently, today, won't be ideal. When we heal these things from the past, or past traumas, then we can move forward mentally cleansed and clear. And then every morning we can choose for ourselves to live in heaven and to take back control. Having mind power, our own control of our own mind power. Let's look at it this way. If you do not like the way that you're feeling, what are you thinking about in that moment that you don't like it? Examine that thinking. And I want you to notice that there will be patterns that repeat in your days. And these patterns are choosing your outcomes for you. You're choosing, by not having mind power control, to live the same life day after day after day, stuck in ruts and patterns that are guiding your hellish existence. Now, I know some people will say, well, what am I supposed to do? Just ignore all the bad things in the world? Yes. Choose what it is that you will focus on. If there is nothing that you are going to do, that you can do, you will not change make happen, you will not have any positive bearing by focusing on the bad that you intend to do nothing about. Your heart will say, oh, but I must look at this thing and this terrible thing that has happened, and I must feel compassion for these people who are suffering. This is not what we want to do. We want to create a vibrational consciousness that is higher, that is uplifted, that goes beyond war and violence and climactic changes and turmoil. We need to raise our consciousness. And we do this by healing our past traumas so that we can be mentally cleansed and clear, so that going forward in our life, we can choose to focus on heaven. And as we focus on that heaven moment by moment, we then create vibrational frequencies and patterns in the world around us that will show us proof of the things that we saw when we created this heavenly existence in our consciousness. The spoken word has a very big influence in this. When you say, I'm creating an era of peace and love, and my every loving thought is a creationary peace on this planet. The consciousness that we choose to sit in and focus on determines our day-to-day life. This is so important. If you want to live in heaven today, you can choose it for yourself and you can live in heaven. If that doesn't seem possible to you, then it is only because you have past traumas that are currently dictating your present way of thinking. It has nothing to do with your current circumstances, although it feels like it does. When we heal the past, then the present doesn't seem so harsh and unbearable. I am not saying that people do not go through difficult, inherent, bad things in their life. They do. This suffering leads to greatness. It should be thanked and embraced when it comes about. Our heavenly existence is only a creationary thought away. As we create heaven on earth, we do this through our consciousness. If you were to think right now, what traumas are dictating your present way of thinking? Perhaps some would come to mind. If they come to mind, I want you to ask yourself how often a thought about that particular thing pops up in your day, or how often a side effect from that trauma, so a thing perhaps that you believe about yourself, how often that pops up throughout a normal day. It will probably be hundreds, if not thousands. You might not know the effects of that past trauma. You might not even know what the trauma is. But its bearing on your present day and daily life will be very, very great. Greater than you could imagine. You'll find the relief when it's gone, and then you'll understand just how much of an influence it truly had on your life and your thoughts and your actions and your words and the words spoken in your life. And they create a vibrational frequency. And as you speak these words, it brings forth creation into your world. For example, I always say things like, I get free things all the time. As I say it, I speak it, I believe it, I create it, I get free things all the time. I say things like, we're living in heaven. Of course, this wonderful good thing is going to happen. As I speak those words, of course, that wonderful good thing does happen. The only reason that I am able to do this is because of the suffering that I have gone through in my life that led me to an enlightenment and allowed me to truly heal myself. And because of the work that I do, I had been working on self-development, personal growth for about 9 years. I am now almost nearly an empty vessel. The forgiveness has been given, the guilt has been released, the resentment is not there, the trust is magnanimous. On to January. So check the time. Ooh, 16 minutes. January 2024. It begins calm, beautiful. This calm, beautiful feeling that comes in the start of January is a powerful creationary force. As we, those of us who are listening to this, there's just a few of us, focus, and you'll remember this because it will happen. Focus on creating peace at the very start of January. The only thing that we need to do is observe it and become part of it. Become part of the calm, become part of the peace. Very easy to do this. As January progresses, things will change, it'll get colder. We'll begin to feel a little more lively, a little more vibrant, more life, more energy. And as we move towards the end of the month, things will begin to change rapidly. Relief will come in different kinds of different forms and will be given freely to the people. January will be a very harmonious, unified month. A very good one. That's it. I thought we were going to get something more profound about January. I guess my tea is steeped long enough. Thanks for watching. So I hope that you got something out of this. Consciousness is a very important thing in the mental maturity. It is really having control of your thoughts. So here's how you'll know if you can control what you eat, if you can control what you think about. That's basically it. If you can do those two things, let's say that you have a thought that comes up and you don't want to be thinking about it. Do you have the power? Do you have the mind control to be able to just immediately stop thinking about it and create something else? Knowing that your world that you're living in is your creation. So when you think about something and it's maybe upsetting you or you don't like it, so ask yourself, do I want to create more of this in my life? And if you don't, you have the power. You can stop it like that. And if you can't, then all you need to do is cleanse the past, because the past trauma is dictating your present day. And I'm not saying that this trauma, it was something like that you would see in a movie, something terrible, horrible, that you're like, oh, trauma. No, it is anything that has changed the way that you view the world or yourself that has stuck with you. So, you know, an example of that would be maybe, you know, let's say someone was bugged when they were younger, they weren't treated very good, bullied. Well, it now, present day, could lead to, well, first of all, resentment towards those people maybe, but it would also lead to feelings of like self-worth issues, right? That's what I'm talking about, because those things of self-worth and stuff like that dictate all the choices, all the decisions, all the things that you make throughout a day. So if you're like, oh, I can't control my eating, it's because something else, a belief system from something that probably happened a really long time ago, is controlling that. So to get that mental maturity, all you need to do is heal whatever's there and the reason why that's dictating this in your present life, and then you forgive it. And this is how, through healing this, we create an era of love and peace. And then what happens is we have been healed. So then we treat our children differently, and then they don't need to overcome this stuff. And we've taught them how to overcome things that they need to. And then the generations that we have here in the future, they can handle this so much easier than what we have had to do. But it's us who has to put in the hard work first to get to that place and to teach what we know to the next generations. So anyways, thank you for listening to this message. The very few of you who do, thank you for liking and commenting, sharing, subscribing. Love to you all, and I will see you guys in the next video.